How to deal with anger issues. Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about anger issues and how to deal with them. Now, I'm not a doctor or a psychiatrist. I can only go from my experience with my own anger and with people I've known or do know, their anger, and what I see are the common problem and how to deal with those issues of anger. So first of all, I want to go into some positive side effects of being someone that experiences anger, because I do believe that sometimes it's okay to get angry, because I feel like it's there to teach us a fundamental lesson. Because essentially what anger is teaching us is that something is amiss, something is going wrong, something has happened and we're not happy about it, and now we go on to figure out what that is and how to fix it. So if we were never angry and if we never got frustrated or irritated, we probably wouldn't get much done, and we wouldn't find new ways of doing things or finding out how to do things a lot better. So let's say you're trying to do something but it's not happening quick enough. You know, if something's not happening quick enough, you try to find ways that make it quicker. So one of those things could be anger. You could be angry about the fact that things aren't happening quicker than you want them to. So therefore, you go out and search for ways to get this done more quicker or more efficiently. So there is some utility in anger. I also think as well that some people are more susceptible to anger. I do think it could be a trait. So for example, I don't think that I am very susceptible to anger. I would say I'm mostly quite a calm person. But that doesn't mean that I don't get angry, or it doesn't mean that I don't get frustrated or irritated. But I have seen from people I've known, people I do know, that people can be quick to anger a lot quicker than other people. So there's obviously also a darker side to someone that's angry a lot, who is susceptible to anger. And one of the things that I think is probably the darker side of anger is that it seems to me that when you get angry and you're angry too much and you're very quick to anger, for me, it seems like perhaps that's something to do with not taking responsibility for your own actions, or not taking responsibility for something about that situation you're getting angry about. Because it's so easy to assign blame to something else rather than ourselves, which is why it's kind of easy to get angry, because you're like, well, I'm angry because so-and-so did this to me, or this happened and it didn't go my way. So an example of this for me was when I was creating my website. I got really frustrated in the creation process of my website. I didn't get someone to build my website for me. I built it myself. And there were lots of parts of that process that were really, really frustrating to me. And I was saying like, oh, stupid computer, or this stupid website, I should never have made it. All these different things, but I wasn't blaming me. Like the reason why I was getting frustrated was because I didn't know how to do something. And I was making it out in my head that it was to do with my website, or it was to do with the host I was using, or it was to do with my computer not being fast enough, or the internet speed. But really the problem that I found was a lack in my knowledge. Like I needed to look something up and research something. So it was essentially my fault, but I was getting angry because I was blaming other things. And when you take responsibility and when you decide that, okay, there's something that I personally need to learn here to move forward, it kind of calms you a bit, because you realize, okay, I can get through this, and this is something that is to do with me rather than to do with the website itself, or whatever it is. So you've got to make sure that you at first look at yourself when you are feeling angry, especially if you're really quick to anger about stuff. Perhaps sometimes it's just simply your fault that you're angry, and you shouldn't assign blame to someone. Now, of course, there are obviously occasions where it is someone's fault. Someone has done you harm in some way. And when that happens, you can get angry about it. And perhaps you are absolutely right to get angry about it. But perhaps anger probably isn't the best solution to that problem. But it's not a bad thing to have those emotions bubble up inside you for at least a moment, or even a few moments, because if someone's done you wrong, it's pretty bad, and you do get frustrated and angry when it comes to those kinds of situations. But let's say your anger is a problem for you, and if you're looking up this video, then I guess that it probably is. So one of the things that causes people to get angry is what they are focusing on. So let's say someone has done you wrong in some way. So let's say your boss has promoted someone else and you thought that you was going to get that position. Perhaps you go straight to, what, I can't believe my boss has promoted this person and not me. I do all these different things. I've been here the longest. I'm always on time. How come this other person has got the promotion and not me? And you may be right. That could be correct. Perhaps you did deserve it more than they did. But if you focus on that, it's only going to make you more angry. So the best thing to do is, when a situation like that happens, is to actually focus on something else. Like focus on, perhaps, hang on a sec, perhaps this person does deserve it. Perhaps there's some things that I haven't seen them do that has warranted the fact that they are now promoted. Perhaps there is some things behind the scenes going on that makes them deserve it more, and I just haven't seen them. Perhaps in some way they have deserved the promotion more than you. You just haven't focused on it. You just haven't looked at it from that angle. Because if you look at it from a different angle, that shifts your focus. And that will make you feel a little bit more calmer, or at least it can give you at least then you can sort of like debate it within yourself a little bit. So coming at things at a different angle will perhaps help you in those kinds of situations. So if you're feeling angry, change what you are focusing on. Decide to look at it from a different point of view, or to put yourself in that person's shoes. So just see what's going on. I sometimes see this a lot with people being very angry at their parents and the way that their parents have raised them, or the things that their parents have done to them. But if you look at it from the angle of like, hang on, shall I have a look and see what their parents were like? What were my grandparents like as parents? And perhaps if I look at how my grandparents were as parents to my parents, then perhaps you'll be able to see like some kind of things that happened to them as a child that made them out to be the parent they are to you. So there's different ways that you can look at things, and you're like, and sometimes you can think, well, actually that makes sense. The reason why my parents were the way they were to me was because of their upbringing. So essentially, it wasn't even really their fault. And perhaps it wasn't even your grandparents' fault. Perhaps if you look back at their parents, then perhaps they did something that was wrong and made their children out to be the way that they were. So if you look at things from different angles, it really, really does help, from my point of view at least. Anger is also a physical thing. So I know when I start to feel angry, like I can feel it in my face first, like my face gets really warm, my breathing gets a bit more rapid, and I pace a lot as well when I'm angry. So that's a very physical thing that I'm doing with my body when I get angry. And I've seen this with other people too. Their body changes when they become more and more angry. Like you can see their face gets more flushed. They get more like uptight. The tone of their voice becomes more sharp. So anger is also a very physiological thing as well. So of course, if you want to just change your physiology and you want to calm your physical body down, like perhaps you can't help your physical reaction when you get angry, then obviously do things that are a lot more calmer, that can soothe you. So breathe in very deeply, taking deep breaths, perhaps exercising to get rid of like those to get rid of all that stress and frustration. That can help you. So also pay attention to your physical body. Perhaps one of the things that you need to do is actually to start doing a workout plan, or to join a club like jiu-jitsu or taekwondo to get that anger out. So the last thing that I want to talk about is a bit of a warning. Now this is for people who get angry a lot and it's affecting your life in a very negative way. And I think you will probably know who you are. Being angry a little bit of the time, like I've said, is okay. There can be some utility in that, because it just shows that something isn't working in your life, and it makes you pay attention to what you need to do in order to make it work. However, if anger comes up too much for you, then I want you to listen to this very carefully. Being angry a lot will affect your relationships in your life. It will affect the relationships you have with pretty much everybody, okay? Obviously, if you can't control your anger, there will maybe come a point where you might actually hurt someone. And you could hurt them perhaps physically, maybe that will happen, or you could hurt them emotionally. So if you're angry around your children, there's a chance that they might actually start to become very scared and frightened of you. Now, I know about this because my mum had a father that was a drunk. And when he got drunk, he became very angry, and that made my mum terrified of him. Terrified. If you have children, do you want your children to be terrified of you? Because think of this for a second. If your child is frightened of you, they are going to avoid you. And if your children avoid you, then they won't have that relationship with you. And of course, you want to have a relationship with your children. Now, of course, children is just like one part of it, right? There's also the relationship with you have with your spouse. So perhaps your spouse might become frightened of you. So be very careful of how you are angry, and if it's affecting others around you. Be very aware of when you are angry of the people that are around you, because it could potentially ruin your relationships. So if you have anger issues and you need more help with that, then I would highly recommend that you get in touch with someone that can help you, like a proper professional on these kinds of issues, because you will probably need it. You don't want your family life and your friendship life to be affected by this. Because one of the things that I personally find when I'm around someone who's very, very angry, I want to be away from them. I want to avoid them. There are people in my life that I try to avoid because I know that they are very susceptible to having a temper. And they're scary people. People with anger issues are very scary people. So that's my warning to you, to try and get some more help if you are one of those people that can't seem to control their anger. I hope this has helped you, even if it's just in a small way. And I hope this has also pushed you to get some further help if you have anger issues that are affecting your day-to-day life. Anyway, if you'd like coaching and mentoring with me, then please head over to www.christineloveridge.com/shop, and we can work out some plans for you for the future, see if we can strengthen your courage and your individuality, make you more self-reliant, or I can help you with dating, relationships, and pickup. I hope this has helped, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye guys.